a pesar de las dificultades que tuvo en la vida diaria, ella supo ser como una portadora de amistad y de sobresalir a las dificultades de ella. ¿Usted cree que ese es como una especie de un premio que ella dio al superar sus problemas y dar un ejemplo a todos los que estamos aquí, independientemente de lo que hagamos en nuestra vida íntima?
Okay, so let me translate that.
No sé si alguien me traduce.
He asked if I think that part of the gift of Bambi's life is to have been, I don't know, maybe using a little bit,
to change her life and her lifestyle.
but it came from the love that her family gave her, you know, constantly throughout all the challenges that she had in her life. I think that's what you were going to say. That
¿Usted cree que es importante mantener una vinculación con la familia de uno para poder superar dificultades y que la sociedad y la gente nos entienda de mejor manera que lo único que tenemos de diferente ante las demás personas somos únicamente la orientación sexual, pero podemos desenvolvernos en diferentes actividades de la vida?
¿Cuál es su nombre, perdón, por favor?
Giovanni.
Giovanni. ¿Y su pronombre?
Yo tengo Facebook, Gio Crespo.
No, pronombre de él o ella.
No. Mira, a mí no me gusta ser sincero y directo.
let me answer.
No, because you work on he. I just want to make sure it's a he. Okay, I just want to make sure, yeah.
So basically what he's saying is that if the family support that we all need, I have to say that yes, it's true in my case, and in Bambi's case, it's even truer because, I mean, she put her sisters, especially Hilda, Yadira, through the ringer, you know, because she went through a lot of things that a lot of people would not have withstand. But I think a lot of families that especially deal with addiction.
Porque yo quiero poner mi caso. Perdón. Yo salí del clóset con mi familia en el 2006. Ahora, en pocos meses, yo voy a tener 51 años. El cambio que me dio fue grande con mi familia a partir que yo les avisé a ellos, porque me dio más confianza, me dio más libertad y tratar de sacar esos miedos que tenía ante la gente. Ahora no pasa nada. Yo ando tranquilo, mi familia sabe dónde estoy, este momento ellos saben que yo estoy aquí y la vida para mí cambió totalmente porque en mi país yo fui periodista, soy periodista, pero lamentablemente por yo no salir sería de clóset o aceptar mi orientación sexual, todo se fue al piso. Y prácticamente yo no ejercí mi profesión de periodista a pesar de ser titulado, de licenciado en Ciencias de la Comunicación. Y yo tengo mis amigos aquí en el Facebook y esa es la razón que yo tengo dos páginas. Sería una página real con mis amigos reales y la otra de mis amigos que son gays. Pero no es por problema que yo me esconda en el closet porque mi familia totalmente ya sabe.
¿Y de qué país es?
De Ecuador.
Ay, qué bello,
Yeah.
qué hermoso. Tan
So
lejos.
can I just make a short summary of? So he's talking about coming out, and that was the point in his life where his family were with him, supported him, and now he's out to everyone. He's 51 years old. He was a journalist in Ecuador. He's still a journalist now. And thank you for sharing your story. Gracias por contarnos tu historia. Me he dado cuenta que en la mayoría de cuando presento la película, la gente se crea un espacio que la gente siente segura y puede decir cosas como el relato que hace en este momento. So I'm just telling him that I've noticed that every time we have a Q&A after we show the film, that people feel safe enough to tell us their story, to share their story with us. So, but in terms of like my experience with Bambi's family is like actually we shot during her Thanksgiving. All her family came together, her nephews, her nieces, everybody knows and has seen Bambi's journey because it's not something that she, was hiding away. I mean, everybody knows she was in prison, everybody knows that she dealt with drugs, but everybody knows that she recovered, and everybody has supported her, and they're a very close-knit family, and especially for us Latinos, that's a very important thing.
Sí, creo que es muy importante ese punto.
Okay, why did you include that in the documentary?
Why did
The Thanksgiving celebration with the family? To underscore.
I did include some of it. Oh, I have to tell you that the truth is because there's a brother who does not, because not everything is like, harmony in her family. There's a brother who was in all the scenes who did not want it to be in the film. Who still calls her by the middle name and all.
Told them to go to the restroom while you
Yeah, but you can get into I couldn't do that. But I just wanted to show that the family was, and also some of the nephews and nieces were like, oh, I don't know if I want to be in it. So I didn't want to go into, I never put in my camera in a place and I just expect everybody to be comfortable. If they say no or they have a reservation, of course you have to protect them. And they were children from 21, 16, 17, so I didn't want to go, just feeling like, oh, I'm making a film, so let's all be happy with it. So it was out of respect, basically. That's why I didn't do that.
And have you entered this into any festivals and how?
Oh yeah, it premiered at ArtFest, which is the largest LGBT film festival in Los Angeles. And right now, actually this Saturday is being shown in Albuquerque. And Bambi's going to be there. It's the first transgender film festival in Albuquerque. We have a European premiere in Bologna next month. And we're also showing it at the oldest transgender film festival in the country called Translation, which is in Seattle. Thank you.
And nothing in New York?
Well, we're having another screening actually on Tuesday at CUNY, at the Graduate Center.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming this Tuesday.
Oh,
And
this
I'll be there
Tuesday.
again. It'll be the same film. Yes?
Where can you get that information?
Oh, we have a website that is continuously changing and being updated. It's called transvisiblefilm.com. Yes. And we also have some of the speeches that Bamby has done. We did 2 months ago. We were in Houston at the Creating Change Conference, and she got an award as the Longevity in the Movement Award. It's the highest award that the conference gives, and her speech is all about 10 minutes of the speech. A lot of trans Latinas were there, and they all joined in the podium with her, and they all shared the celebration of her work and her life. Yes?
Do you want to translate that to Spanish? And then I'll ask my question. I don't know.
I forgot what I said. Can you translate?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What was it?
About what I just said.
It was about the film on Tuesday, and then before that about why
Oh, yeah, I can
Thanksgiving
remember
was
that.
shot.
So, vamos a tener otra presentación del film en el Graduate Center, acá en la Quinta Avenida, el martes. Y después, lo que dije es que tenemos un website que es transvisiblefilm.com, y ahí están todas las prensas y todas las previas screenings y los screenings que van a venir. Y también hay cortos, por ejemplo, del speech que Bamby hizo en Houston cuando le dieron el premio como la activista más de larga duración en el movimiento, que Lorena estuvo ahí, creo que tú también estuviste ahí, y todo lo que está pasando con el film está en nuestro website. Nos pueden dejar mensajes, le pueden dejar mensajes a Bamby, lo que sea.
I did have a question.
Okay.
Which was, can you share like an anecdote from filming that we wouldn't have gotten to see, kind of like the Thanksgiving thing, or from screening the film that stuck out to you?
Well, I mean, it's always sharing the podium with Bamby is always an experience. Okay. So I hope that I capture some of that but of course it's not like having her next to me. So we always have like, she always feels bad that people mostly direct all the questions to her. So she's always like pulling me. So it's just funny. We have a really nice banter about that, you know. So she's always throwing some questions to me, and you know, so I won't feel like, you know, that people are not asking me questions. But I think one thing I'm gonna say that in Houston, actually, although we have only 5 minutes of Q&A, a woman pointed out that she was very proud of her for coming out as a victim of sexual violence as a child. And the reason it's not in the film, like she doesn't announce the other things in her life, is because her mother doesn't know. So she didn't want the mother to find out that way. Like the mother lives in Guadalajara, but she comes to LA often, and she didn't want to find out through a film. I mean, she still has to have that conversation. So it kind of like threw me, like, you know, she's like 43 years old, but she still hasn't had that conversation. But I think people in the audience could relate to that. You know, it's something that you can keep from your family or from your close ones, you know, for a long time. You know. Yes.
I was just saying one YouTube.
Okay.
Jennifer first, or who is that?
Yes. Yeah, you go.
Jay. So how long did the documentary take, and how was it actually working with her? Because I know I'm in a few documentaries myself right now, because she's filming tonight. And I like to kind of know, you know, how is it like the producer working with me and whatnot, you know, and so.
Well, it took me from the time when we convinced Bamby to make the film, because it wasn't a done deal. As soon as I said I want to make a film of you, it took some convincing. I think we gained her trust and her acceptance to make the film by telling her that it was going to inspire and give hope to other generations of people that get to see it, and it's part of her legacy. And I mean part, because she's, like I said, she's only 43. She still has a lot to accomplish. You know, I mean, she's in the middle of everything: the Angels of Change, her studies, the Trans-Latino Coalition. The report came out. You know, so her work just keeps going and going and going. And who knows where she's gonna be, like next year or 5 years from now? You know, maybe she's running her own nonprofit. You know, which is her dream. So, but from the moment she said yes to the moment that we premiered, it took about a year and a half. Yes, because I also wanted to, first of all, she was very difficult to get to sit down with me, because her schedule is very busy. And I also wanted her to see her, you know, as a leader. I wanted her to see her speak in Washington. I wanted her to see her speak in Vegas. I wanted to speak to the community, you know, when she did that at the OC, which is Orange County. She was a spokeswoman for that year, so I wanted to see some of that, you know. Yeah.
Yes. Joseph,
Thank you.
and it's a beautiful film.
Thank you.
I identify strongly with Bamby when she had to separate from her friend because of the drug use. 'Cause I too have a brief history of drug use, and I went through the same thing, so I identify very much with that. Just the other question is, did you contact the family of?
Whose family? Bobby's family?
Right. Or did I miss that?
No, unfortunately, actually Bobby's mom was in a nursing home. She had Alzheimer's, and actually she passed away last year. But Bamby kept in touch. She kept visiting her. You know, apparently she
had a
didn't
wife
know.
also.
Oh, the wife? No, that I don't know.
You didn't want to go there?
No, I don't know. That never even crossed my mind, actually.
You've never been in that position, that's why.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Thank you.
I simply wanted to ask about how long it took you to make the film, and I don't see you behind the camera. My question too, I guess, was how did you come across the story? How did you meet Bamby? Like, and why, as a filmmaker, were you drawn to this?
Well,
personally.
I moved to LA in 2006, and basically because I brought a film I had made about the trans community in Peru, and as soon as the film was premiered at our fest as well, people started inviting me to trans-related events. At the time, there wasn't really a lot of visibility. The only people that I knew back then was Bamby Salcedo, and she was the one. She was doing marches for Prop 8, supporting the repeal of Prop 8. And every time I talk about trans this, trans that, they always directed me to Bamby. So one time I had a screening at USC of my film, and she came she was in my audience, and it was like, I felt like Miguel says in the film, I felt like I was like an approval of some sort, I felt like really honored to have her in the screening. And then I started volunteering for Angels of Change, and that's how we kept in touch. She came to one of my panels for my second film about the trans community in Peru. And that's how the idea started in my head, I think Roland, who's the executive producer, he asked me one day, the three of us were at some screening, he said, what are you going to do next? And I said, I want to make a film about Bamby. And it took 3 or 4 months before she agreed to do it. But I kind of envisioned, this is the kind of story I wanna make, because I wanted to get away from. There have been as you know, filmmakers, there have been a lot of wonderful trans-related films that deal a lot with the body. The silicone, the surgeries, all of that. And I want to get away from that. I want to talk about the mind, the soul, and the work. And that's what also in part of what Bamby, even in my questioning of her, she was very open. I could have asked her about anything, but I took a deliberate focus away from the body, and it was about her mind, soul, and the work.
Okay, here, and here. Your name? Yes. No? Okay. So I said here.
Hi, first of all, it's fantastic, thank you.
Thanks.
One thing I thought you did really well was to portray her dedication to activist causes, and also, you had these really glamorous, empowering moments where she's at the podium and she has this big crowd, but also these really small kitchen table meetings, and she's giving this incredibly powerful deposition. There's only 3 people in the room, or the banner for the Trans Latina, they're trying so hard just to keep it up. And so I thought that was a really beautiful way of showing, her rigor and her dedication. So if you have anything to say about what it was like to shape that, I'm curious. And also, how do you relate to that as a filmmaker? Now you have this beautiful finished project, but the steps, the pre-production, everything that it takes to go into that.
Well, one thing that anybody who knows Bamby knows that she is very grassroots. So, even though there are more resources out there, even in her own personal life, she has more resources. She has more clout, things that she can get done. Still, for instance, the Angels of Change, although it's the 7th year, it's a total volunteer event. Even the space is given to us for free. So we're trying to raise the stakes, because we're trying to get people like Janet Mock to be our guest, but of course they charge a huge fee. I don't know if you know that, but they do, which I think is great that she does that. But even though we want her to be part of our Angels of Change event, we might not be able to afford her, so I think it was easy for me to see that the work that she does, even when she's in a conference, or when she goes to a college, or she's with the other trans Latinas, she always puts the same kind of effort into it. She's always preparing. The speeches don't come out of her head. She writes the speeches out, and she's always has, time to prepare to, and to, she knows how to direct the